Hi, I'm Gary May and this is Made to Persuade. This video is all about why do prospects cancel arranged meetings. Because I know how frustrated you must get. You've been working on this for a week, for a month, even a year sometimes, to get a prospect to accept an appointment for one of your sales guys or yourself to sit down and meet with them. However, 2 days before, 1 day before, you get that dreaded email, that dreaded call, suggesting that they can no longer make it and all your hard work is gone. So what can we do to help prevent this from happening in the first place? So today, I'm going to give you 2 tips. What you're going to notice from this moment on is your cancellations are going to reduce. And what's brilliant about reducing cancellations is that you don't need any more data, you don't have to make any more calls, you don't have to do any more work. You do exactly the same as what you're doing now. But guess what? Your revenues, your salary, your commission skyrocket for doing exactly the same work. Number 1. Does everyone know how to send a calendar invite? Well, I'm hoping you do. And if you don't, stop this video now. Go and find out because that is what we're going to do. Now, I'm sure many of you will be sending these calendar invites after you've booked the appointment and once you've put the receiver down. However, there's your big mistake because let's imagine you're in a face-to-face environment. Now, if you wanted to gain commitment from someone, then what you would do at the end of the appointment, you would ask for business, and if they said yes, you'd get some paperwork out and they would autograph it. That is now a legal contract. However, on the telephone, you don't have a luxury like that, do you? Yeah, you do. You absolutely do. Because imagine this, you've just converted a prospect to accept a meeting. So it goes something like this. Okay, so we will see you at Thursday at 10 o'clock. However, can I just confirm an email address for you? Because what I'd like to do now is to send you a calendar invite. And once you get it, if you could press that green accept button for me, that means it'll update my diary, your diary, and also the salesperson's diary as well. Fair? Now, how many people do you think say no to that? None. Unless they're not by a computer or they can't accept it. But in the main, they always say yes. So what I'm suggesting is get a calendar invite sent to them whilst you're on the call. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, the reason being is because the psychology of them receiving it and then pressing that green button is identical to them autographing something to commit to doing it. See what I mean? So them having to take action, to having to open that email, to then go to the green tick, to then actually accept it, they remember whilst you were live on the call that they accepted that appointment whilst you were there. Reduction in cancellations is enormous. So please, from this moment on, at the end of a call, send a calendar invite and get it accepted during the call before you hang up. Okay, so on to step 2. This one's very interesting for me because it took 12,000 call recordings for me to get out this piece of information that I'm going to be sharing with you. What I really wanted to know was, is there an optimum time from when you commit that prospect to accepting an appointment and the moment that you hang up on them and put the receiver down? Is there an optimum time that prevents cancellations? Now, over these 12,000 calls, I knew which ones were sat meetings and which ones ended up being cancelled. So I had a look at how long the telemarketer, the telesalesperson, the lead generator spent on the phone after committing the prospect. It was ridiculously accurate. What I found was this: anything before a 1 minute, so i.e. you've committed the prospect, if you get off the phone within 1 minute of that happening, I could deduce that that would cancel. There was a high probability that that would cancel. And the main reason for that is because you've left that prospect in such an emotional state that they don't actually know what's happened. Who is this person? Never heard of this company before. I didn't even know I wanted that product. What have I committed to? Why have I given out my personal information? And why have I accepted an appointment? You can see that they've now got anticipated regret about that meeting, so therefore they cancel. Similarly, on the opposite side, anything after 2 minutes 13 seconds, that's how ridiculous it got, 2 minutes 13 seconds, then what I noticed was there was a high probability again of that prospect cancelling. And the reason for that is because you've now waffled on too much, or you've talked yourself out of the appointment. So 2 minutes 13, the prospect starts to feel like, okay, I've done exactly what you've asked me to do. I've answered your questions. I've accepted an appointment. I've booked it in my diary. Now please just let me get back to my day. You can kind of feel that, can't you? So 2 minutes 13, anything after that, you start to see a ramp down to cancellations. So the optimum time is between 1 minute and 2 minutes 13. But what should you be talking about during that time? Well, it just so happens it's anything other than what's going to happen at the sales appointment. Anything other than the product, service, or your company. So typically anyone that's ever worked with me, whilst they're sending that calendar invite, they'll be talking to the prospect about, is there parking available on site? If not, where would be the best place for salesperson to park? Is there a sandwich shop nearby, because the appointment's at 1 o'clock and obviously if he's near you, he'd like to grab a sandwich? Or do I need ID to enter your building? Anything other than the sales process, the product, the service, or your company. Okay, so if you want to know more about me, or you want to know more about my training company Salesology, then click the link below. It's www.sales-ology.com. Alternatively, please subscribe to this channel. There's a little bell icon. Click on that and you'll get notified of every new video that I do. Share it with your friends, your family and colleagues.